Oh, you ready? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I looked at the presentation in here from our GM and what his solution was for the violation, for the maps, et cetera, et cetera. And I looked at it and I came up and I said, you know, this just seems like it's awful complex, very expensive, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, if you go back and look, first of all, we've got 1,600 to 1,700 unimproved lots. You know, we're talking about outside place of use and things of that nature, but I'm sitting there saying, okay, half of this place we could build on without any kind of hassles. We're not even halfway built out, and most of them are available for improvements. And they're in the place of use without questions. Number two, I took a look at CSD and I said, okay, in 2005, CSD was running at 220.7 100 cubic feet, 220,700 100 cubic feet. In 2013, we were running at 190,600 100 cubic feet. In 2018, we're looking at a plan for 132,700 100 cubic feet. So obviously, we're in a major downtrend. And this was before the drought. It had nothing to do with the drought. We were going downhill before the drought in our volumes. Last month, we talked about having 2,700 people here. In 2060, we were projecting to have 2,910. I'm not sure of the source of this, but it came from the general managers in the minutes. I mean, it's in the package. In 40 years, we're going to have 210 more people. We're going to have 109 more households. So obviously, this is minimal growth. You know, we're talking about all these big, fancy, good things that are very expensive. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, show it to me. Bingley Engineers in 2015, as part of the drought emergency study, looked at the original well. And I heard you quoting these numbers a minute ago. 70 gallons per minute of water for the original well. But for government work, you have to cut it in half to 35. Okay, at 35, that's 2,048 cubic feet, or 4.7 acre feet per month. That's what that one well should be able to run at 35, not at full amount. Full amount would be 9,000. I mean, 9 acre feet. The last 12 months, out of the place of usage reports, we have averaged 1.3 acre feet, okay? Mm-hmm. And we're allowed, or we have out of that well, we can have 4.7 if it was operating. The highest month was 2.4. So a lot of leeway in there just with that one old well, or using that one well's production as our standard if we want to use all the wells. So what I'm saying is, my conclusion is, we don't need the proposal that the GM has. It's got a lot of pages, a lot of consultants, a lot of studies, a lot of monies, and we may or may not be in violation. But we wouldn't be in violation under these set of circumstances. Okay, we would be in compliance with our current policy, because our current policy is no new out-of-place users, and nor the current, and I would suggest, this is the plan, is what I would consider, instead of what is written up. To comply with the current policy, no new out-of-place users, nor current users, new activities. In other words, we've got a current user, he can't come out and start building something altogether new that's going to use a whole lot of water. Balancing and maintaining all the wells monthly. They don't exceed the original well capacity. Now, what I'm saying there is, if we want, we've got 4 wells now, if we had the first one up and running. And we're balancing those. We want to use one of them, a different one each month to keep them up and running, things of that nature. So I'm not saying that all the water has to come from the old well, I'm just saying use the old well standards at the 4 and the 9, you know, at the 70, at those standards, okay. Digitize the map project to include the correct maps required now that's been talked about with this government violation. Get the information that we need, get the maps set up once and for all. And then ongoing activity, we would periodically plan upgrades. We got ongoing activity, we could do a lot of new things, and then go again for the next 5 or 10 years. And the upgrades would really be pretty minimal, I think, once we had it up and set up. And then effectively, this reduces the violation to a non-issue after the correct maps are set up and determined, and the cost is probably the minimal alternative that we're talking about, all these things. Now, excuse me, my mouth is really dry. I was thinking about if we really wanted to get this package, you know, we've got people like all the real estate people, we've got the county, we've got fire, we've got the engineer or Binkley, we've got all these other people that might want to share this whole thing instead of us picking up the whole amount of money. So I'm looking at this as an alternative as to the conclusion of the plan that we should have.
Thank you. Comments on the violation? Because that's what I'm focused on, I think.
Yeah, well, it's right around with that. Oh, gosh, darn it.
I'm getting old.
Oh, man, yeah.
These chairs hurt.
That's just not moving. Oh, gosh, violate. Well, for one thing, you know, you guys could go right over here to this MID map and see what I'm talking about. The outside MID POU line is not on the county line. So I don't know where they got that unless you work some deal with MID. You give us the elementary school and let us do this over here. Because I was in the MID meeting when that was determined by some of the top managers. They looked at that map and they said, definitely, it is not on the county line. Yet what you're producing here shows that it is. So I'm very skeptical about the accuracy of these maps.
Okay, I'm asking about comments on the...
I thought we were talking about violations.
Yeah, but you keep going over the maps. Maps is next.
Oh, well, I thought violations were...
It's actually still all, it's all part of it.
It's all,
Yeah, it's all kind of-
I want to make
it's-
sure we get them. So, you know, I mean...
Sorry, Dan.
Oh, no, it's all right. Okay, well then, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about violations that the map
the
showed.
violation we went over because of the state letter, where we're at, what we're doing for supply and water. And I think, to me, the comments that were communicated by Pete, going through this mapping process ties in the fact that we have identified through this process that the school, which is a large consumer that we currently have as outside place of use, is not outside place of use, it's within the district boundaries based on the contract that we had with the CAD system. Because if you read page 37, items 1 through 4, they contacted these key agencies to produce these maps. We did not put our finger on it.
You don't understand. If the maps that are being provided are incorrect, you're only doubling down on the incorrectness of the map.
I follow what you're saying, you know, but they were given all of the information.
Did you read the violation letter
Yes.
from the state?
Yes,
Did you see the conclusions they made?
yes.
Which were, 1, Sierra Highlands Water Company's service area is the POU. And you can see that right over there, what that is. And you've been able to see it for all these friggin' years, Danny, and you've never looked. Instead, you say, oh, we don't know where it is. We have no idea. And even the state of California in that violation said, you've got it on your website. We have it on our room here. And nobody's give a rat's ass to take a look and say, you know what? That's outside POU. That's what's so frustrating about this. That you come in here and say, hey, look, I got a question about this thing. Won't talk about it. Won't put it on the agenda. Won't put it on the agenda. Then you force people to go to the state and go, hey, I got a problem here. My board won't tell me what's going on. Well, now they have. And they've told me you are wrong.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. board comments?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really wanting the maps and been pro getting this done because I wanted a solid foundation. I wanted all the questions covered. I'm a little disturbed that we're having this discussion. I'm going to assume that somebody's got accurate data and we have to have it. I just got to be assured that whatever we're investing in here is truly the truth. Now, I don't trust that map, and I don't trust any map because it's based on somebody taking a bunch of parcels and going 400 feet this way, and this many degrees, and it's all really, really complicated. That may be wrong, but I want to know what's right. I'm willing, the board has agreed to pay for what's right, but I just want to know for sure I'm getting what I'm paying for. Because we gotta get this resolved once and for all.
Has anyone ever considered the concept? I mean, no, seriously, think back. They're building this brand new Exchequer Dam in 1967, and everyone's salivating at the idea of over 1 million gallons of water in this area for irrigation and domestic use. And what's happening in Sacramento? They got pencil pushers up there and engineers drawing saying, how are we going to divide this water fairly? Well, they came up with the applications in 11-395 to say, this is the area of permitted use. And if you look at it, it fits our subdivision like a glove. Like a glove. So, I mean, I don't understand what the big confusion is. I mean, and that applies to the school too, because if you look in our minutes, of our meeting minutes from this district, our attorney and engineer went over, they spent the weekend going over it, and they came back and said, there's no other way. The elementary school is outside place of use. And Wes Snyder said, well, I already signed the contract to give them water. And that's how things worked back then. I'm just saying, think of it, what was the state trying to do, controlling these water licenses? Who was to be the beneficiary? And it says that the surface water treatment plant was built to do what? Serve the residential subdivision, domestic use, not cattle ranching, domestic use. Thank you.
Any comments?
I do, but I won't say
Thank you, Jim.
it. Okay.
Keep in mind, this is just comments, there's no action required, this is just, comments.
The only thing, I'm paying